People have difficulty connecting with Armstrong because he gave them the greatest story and he stole it from them. He survived cancer. 1993, myself, who's a year older than Lance, our paths have kind of crossed over, but it's 1993. I'm in postgraduate year to become a teacher. Lance is scooping European one-day races. He's got 10 race wins, and he goes on and wins the World Championships in Norway. He's catapulted to the upper echelons of world cycling. He's this muscular cyclist. He's a sprinter, he's a one-day racer. He's an absolute competitive, combat, destroying machine on a bike. If there's a sniff of a win, he's going for it, first or last. That was all that mattered to him. He was forged in a relationship that was obviously recorded very difficult with his father. His mother, she's got more divorces than he's got rainbow jerseys. But Lance shows very early on in his career that he has vigour, what we call the iceberg profile. So when we're profiling athletes and we look at emotional mood states, vigour spikes in all of the elite champions. It's this vigour that gets them up in the morning, out in the snow, out in the rain, pushes them harder, longer, further than anyone else. The desire to win at all costs is what they have. Michael Jordan, what does he talk about? Win at all costs, to win. Their whole life is fascinated by finding that extra 1%. And once they've got it, they don't stop. They keep going, they keep going. Now, you might describe Michael Jordan as a bully or a great leader. He's got the 6 trophies in his cupboard. He doesn't matter what you think, but people make connections, and therefore we make judgments, and then this snowboards, and we go on this conveyor belt and this media circus, judged by a personality rather than sometimes the actions. But Armstrong made it so easy to hate because of the actions, because he gave us the great story. He survived cancer. So 2003, I'm about to start teaching and I'm fascinated. He wins the World Championships. Fast forward, 96, Armstrong diagnosed with cancer. I'm 2 years teaching. Little girl, 13 years old. Great little athlete, cross country. I'm pushing endurance sports. School's getting a good reputation. We're travelling, we're competing, we're winning. Kids are getting more self-esteem. Boom, 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 all that. Girl gets diagnosed with cancer, leukemia. Same time, Armstrong. Unbelievable. I even write a letter to Lance. I didn't post it. I was tight back then as well. Probably wouldn't pay for a stamp to go to America. Didn't think he'd read it, but I wrote it. I did write it. And Lance goes on his journey and he survives. Hell, he loses a testicle. Boom! Off it goes. Tumours are all cut out. You know, he's like bloody Robocop. They're rebuilding him, the pictures. My kid, I won't share her name, doesn't make it. Dies. It's rapid. It's months. Boom, it's all over. 13 years old. Gone. I get emotional still thinking about it. All those years ago. Gone like that. Lance survives. Lance is a winner. Lance did it. How can Lance do it? Lance is going to transform cancer fighting. Lance is going to do something amazing. So what do? I go and I create an event. I raise money for leukemia. I ride Land's End to John O'Groats solo. Wonderful experience. I meet so many amazing people on the way. I meet cancer survivors. I meet people with cancer. It was incredible. But the little girl that I was very close to, as an adult, I become friends with the family. We plant a tree. We do all that. It's the emotions about Lance. He's a winner. And then, of course, you know, we fast forward. He gets back on his bike. Amazing. He wins. He wins the Tour de France. I have still got that connection, that passion with him. Now, you're probably throwing rocks at me. Was he a drug cheat? Yes. Is he toxic? Yes. Villain? He's the biggest villain in any pantomime you've ever been to. Do you look at him as a great champion or as a great cheat? I'm not going to make any excuses. What he did, no way. And then he took it away. He took it away from me. He broke my heart. Push it under the carpet. Nobody must know. The whole bloody race is on EPO. Now, am I reaching out to you to say that, hey, let Armstrong go, everybody was on it? No, not at all, not at all, okay? But you've got to think, cycling and doping. Have you heard those two words in a sentence before? If not, please just Google cycling and you're sure to find it, okay? Does it make the sport any more attractive to me? No. Does it make the sport any more glamorous, glorious? Do I want to stay and watch? No. Does it make me want to not be involved in it? No. There are other factors stated at the end of the video I want to share with you that maybe are pushing us to push performance levels. If you look at the other factors, okay, if you look at what I would call the unwritten sort of factors, the racecraft, the ability to win. So go back to Michael Jordan, win at all costs. Armstrong designed a team that allowed key areas, certainly nothing that was going to challenge his strengths, but they added to them. He mopped up races. He mopped up the Tour de France. The whole season was built around it. I mean, he mopped up the stages. It was control. When there was a weakness in someone, he exploited it. And if you look back, he was able to control through his sheer physical strength. His bike handling skills are phenomenal. His downhill and uphill, there wasn't a weakness, and he could sprint. He still had that. Now, you've got to remember, from when he wins the 93 until he's in his 7 March stride, there's a difference of 15 pounds. The cancer strips away at him. Okay, strips 15 pounds. He retrains and he becomes this stage racer. Sorry, this Grand Tour racer. The stage racing's gone. He hasn't got that recoverability, that big power punch. But Tour de France is where it's at. Why? Because that's where the money is. And Armstrong continually talks about the money. Why am I going to not ride the Vuelta? There's no money in it. Attachment, emotional attachment. How dare he criticise this race and just say he wants to race for money? Is that so bad? Yeah, he's had more failed relationships now than his mum. He's got kids everywhere. But is it just an honesty that he was unable to control because of the iceberg profile, because of his vigour? He couldn't repoint it. He didn't have that filter to switch off and say, do you know what, I better not mention the money so often now. I got to mention the passion of cycling, the history of cycling. I'm part of history. He didn't do that. So it's easy to disconnect. It's easy now to look at his performances and just go, drugs. Well, in his final race, I was there. Champs-Élysées, he's in Radio Shack. He held me up for 2 hours. Yeah, well, there was other people there, of course. He held them up. But he held me up. Changing his talk, but he's announcing to the world about cancer. Great stuff. But it was only by that comeback that he really did put himself out there to have the rocks thrown at him, to be caught out. I'm turning 40 and I'm watching, I'm thinking, wow, what a career, but it's too much shadow around it now. And then true enough, it comes out, the story comes out, I'm disappointed, I'm upset, because he's a cancer survivor. He's a cancer survivor, but history teaches us now that it's very easy for us to get blinkered. We do not see people for being people. We see them from the colour of their skin. We see them from their behaviour. We judge them on what they represent, not who they are. So think about it. Was he a great athlete? Or was he just a great villain? Because in athletic terms, I tell you, there's not a better one. There's not. I loved Indurain. I loved the way that he time trialled up hills, and I loved the way he destroyed. But he couldn't win a race on the flat. He controlled because of the way he time trialled. Yeah, Le Mans, love him still. Great racer, and there's wonderful. Philippe Gilbert is one of my favourites. One day racer, but Armstrong, he just had something different. And I'll leave it at that. So, watch me in the next video where you're going to get some great fitness tips and some laughs and a lot of good stories as well. Remember, anyone can train hard, even Lance, but there's only a few of us can train smart.